It seems like it all started so long ago. I was halfway dead, knocking on heaven's door, when suddenly I saw it. I don't remember actually entering that house. I just found myself there, surrounded by everything I could have possibly wanted at that point in time. There was so much food. There were beautiful clothes and toys and combs, hair accessories. But there was no actual furniture. There were mirrors and confusing doors and hallways, but everything seemed to be just a plain room filled with random objects. I was afraid to take things from there. I knew that it wouldn't be stealing. The person who brought me there told me everything was free. But it felt too good to be true. I hadn't seen that person again since. Just a sense that someone was watching me move around the house. Every now and then, I caught a glimpse of a hooded figure lurking around, vanishing the moment I looked up. I'd been seeing that figure for almost a week by that time. I knew it wasn't whoever brought me to the house. I opted for only taking something small. I was hungry, painfully hungry, but I thought the food might be poisoned. I felt a sense that I would not be allowed to leave until I had picked something up. I was right. As soon as I took the pair of gloves, I was escorted out again by the same smiling face that brought me in here. I looked at the building from outside. No one else went near it. But it was in a busy street with lots of people. It wasn't abandoned or out in the middle of nothing and nowhere. Did the other people just not see the bright flickering lights or hear the music playing? At the door, I saw that hooded figure again and knew that it was Death who had been chasing me. I had been cold and hungry and had little sleep. Everything felt terrifying and I just wanted someone to come take care of me and give me everything I needed. But the house was ominous, and although I could tell there were people there, it didn't seem as though anyone in there had any intentions of looking after me. No, I was on my own, same as before. The next day, I saw an even bigger smile on that face. I was invited back into the house and wanted to refuse, but felt afraid of the person's presence, of the ever so slight change in the expression at the notion that I might be on the brink of saying no. I've seen madness in my life, and that was what it looked like every time. The house was filled with warm clothes this time. None of the toys and food from last time, just hats and gloves and scarves. I felt ashamed to be wearing the gloves I'd taken the last time and took them off. I felt the atmosphere change when I did this and saw a glimpse of Death again, closer this time. The smiling face saw that I wasn't interested in anything and escorted me out. That night was cold, and I could have sworn that I should have been dead already. The morning was more of the same, and the face came to me, like always, smiling that horrible smile. The smiling face dragged me back into the house. It was warm and bright inside. Before, it was always dimly lit, difficult to see in, but now there were showy lights and everything seemed bright and sparkling, as if they wanted to entice me with all that glitters. Everything was shiny and seemed to be made of either gold, silver, or some kind of jewel. Even the food seemed to glitter and sparkle in the light. I felt my stomach rumbling and I thought, what would I even do with all this junk? It all seems fake and cheap and I don't want it just because it looks nice. I don't want any of the stuff in here. I saw Death staring me in the eyes and I felt ready. But it asked me instead whether I'd be interested in making a deal. I could live a little longer and then have to drag someone with me when I went. I asked who. Death told me. I felt anger that I hadn't felt in a long time and shook my head. If that bastard was going to die, I was going to kill him myself, I decided. As if, having heard my thoughts, Death nodded and vanished again. But something else stayed behind, something much worse. I didn't see its face, just heard something angry, snarling like a wild animal, coming towards me. I felt a terrible fear, not of dying, but of suffering horribly in my last moments. I fled, and my legs were weak and slow, but I kept moving and hoping that I would be able to outrun whatever was after me. I ran through strange hallways and hidden doors, and I knew that if I ever lived beyond this point, I would never find my way out again. And I came to a hallway's end, where there was no hidden door, no room. I looked around in panic, wanting to dart, but I saw no wild animal. There was just a man who had gone around the rim of madness. I remembered then why I had endured the hunger and the cold and having nothing and no one to hold. Why I slept without any pillows or blankets. It was him. And even though I never thought about it, a part of me knew that it was all just a trap he put here for me. The food, the warm clothes, everything was meant to lure me back. But I was never going to go back. I felt that same rage and hatred welling up in me again, along with a sense of hopelessness. I had gone through so much to avoid him, and yet there I was, cornered with no way of escaping him again. He came closer, and I braced myself for the worst when suddenly he fell. I looked up, saw death hovering over him, staring straight at me again. I passed out, and the next thing I knew, I was here. That smiling face was never seen again, and the police interrogated me on everything. I told them honestly, though they seemed to have a hard time believing me. I didn't tell them about the nightmare. Before waking up here, I dreamt that I had killed him. I don't know how, though. I just remember that in the dream I was really angry, and he was covered in bruises. And I woke up here. I'm really tired, and I never did end up eating any of that food. It'll probably be thrown away now. What a waste. So this man, he was your father? The police officer asks me. I shake my head. Well, do you have your parents' number, address, anything? I feel myself getting really heavy, starting to fall asleep. Through blurred vision, I see the hooded figure standing in front of me again. I try to open my eyes, and suddenly, the figure is much closer, holding my head. And I close my eyes one last time. It's not dark. Hello? You there, kid? Hey, someone call an ambulance. Thank you for listening and watching. All links and references are in the description below.